Aisling Fitzgibbon helped me and my family to implement a new way of eating. My son had sinusitis and abdominal cramps. My daughter also abdominal cramps. And I had the intuition that gluten and dairy were the things to give up, but it was just so hard to do. When I signed up for Aisling's Thrive programme for the second time, it was with that intention to address these chronic health issues once and for all, and to get the support that I needed to do that, because I wasn't managing it on my own. There was weekly calls where we talked to other mothers who were going through the same thing, who were also improving their children's diet, who were really working hard. And I think having somebody like Aisling there to support you along the way, and always encouraging and saying, okay, try this next step, you know, always offering the next step instead of hitting you with the whole lot of it. You know, it was always very achievable. And because of this, then we achieved that. We gave up the gluten and the dairy, and we've been off it now since January, and we're all doing better. As a result, Isha's breathing more freely. Still the abdominal cramps are there, but the Staphylococcus overgrowth that Aisling, she actually diagnosed us with this strep overgrowth, and the protocol for clearing that out of the system is, you know, is one I haven't undertaken yet. But we've taken the first step now, and it's great for us, and we'll continue, and it means that the next step is actually achievable. So the first step was the dairy and the gluten, and the next step now is cleansing the system with the celery juice cleanse and the liver cleanse. So cleansing all that Staphylococcus out of our systems now, which we will do this summer. And yeah, I'd highly recommend it to mothers out there who are looking for the support just to make that shift, because it's hard. And you know, these issues are so universal now, like abdominal cramps, pain in the belly. I have a pain in my belly, Mom, I have a pain in my belly. And mucus, constant snotty nose. And they really seem to be very common problems. You know, maybe giving up the dairy and the gluten isn't enough, but it's a really brilliant first step to make, and it's a hard step to make. But when you're there talking to other mothers who've done it already, and they're like, oh yeah, that's doable, and you're talking and you have the support of a nutritionist who, or just an expert who can, and a mother who can say, you know, who can remind you, like, that's what this does, that's what this is doing, that's why that's happening, everything you come up with, that's why that is happening, you need to do this. You know, and it's that constant reminder, because I feel like we need a constant reminder, constant support, encouragement, because it can be very daunting, and it can be very disheartening too, when you repeatedly slip back into those old habits, or they go out to a party or something like that, and all your good work is obliterated. And you know how strategic, you know, what we came up with in a lot of the calls was how strategic we need to be as mothers to not just change the diet, you know, but we have to change sometimes the social life, and we have to get up that bit earlier to prepare food beforehand. And so all the levels that's involved in that decision to give up gluten and dairy. And you really do need to keep reminding yourself of just how important it is, just how harmful that stuff is, because you can forget and ignore, and in the busy you do forget and ignore. But with this weekly call, then it holds you to task, it makes you accountable, it makes you responsible, and it empowers you as well to do those things that you need to do, where it's just like this kind of pep talk, where it's like, you know, you're a mother of the new paradigm, you know, this is what you have to do. It may seem like an awful lot, but no less than what's expected of you, you know, and you kind of snap out of your overwhelm and victimhood, and you just get on with it, like, you know, because you're looking at other women who are getting on with it, and makes it all more possible. So we're the better for doing that, definitely. And I'd highly recommend Aisling. She's so generous with her time and her knowledge, and she's so professional and on the ball, like, you know, and she's still juggling a baby and like the rest of us, you know, and getting thrown up on. But it's just that space. It's a space for mothers where we recognise that our children are there with us. You know, you don't have to take the call without them, like, you know, and we're getting interrupted. But it's all part of it, like, it's all very real. And she has a real mission around this. I believe it is her mission, and I believe she's on her path. So, yeah. Gan I rilat le the slánta. May your health rise.